Yeah, absolutely. You know, these two teams knew one another from Conference USA, but now it's a whole new ball game. They're going up against some of the very best teams in the country. So while they are tested significantly each and every night, tonight's matchup should be really interesting to see where they find themselves in this conference.
And both teams rely heavily on their guards. Which matchup should we take a look at tonight?
Heavily on their guards. Look at Ariel Hearn for Memphis. A lot of youth on this Tigers squad. Coach McFerrin is really looking for someone to step up and take the reins, both with their talent but vocally. On the other side, you got to look at Kansas transfer Keena Mays. She really gets this offense going.
All right, when we come back, Memphis and SMU tip-off on the American Digital Network. Back in a moment.
So we talked a lot about what SMU would have to do to get this win at home. Memphis looking to get some consistency here. Tara, what do you think SMU has to do in this ball game?
You know, and looking at both these coaches and how they spoke to their teams at today's shoot-around, they're really looking to capitalize in transition. They want to sprint up the floor, get some good offensive balance going. It's something that both of these teams have been missing in previous contests, so they're looking to display that tonight.
Melissa McFerrin talked a lot about the highlights in her hair. I was joking with her and said, you know, you got some grays because you got these freshman point guard, you got a freshman point guard, you got a sophomore point guard.
Yeah, you know, it's growing pains, and she's seen these girls be very talented on the floor, but sometimes they're just not there with their vocality and how they're able to lead from not only example, but through actual leadership, and that will come with time.
Yeah. Both coaches hoping that. Let's take a look at the starters for both teams today. Who do you like in the lineups?
Well, as you look at the Mustangs, Akil Simpson, Kiara Perry, Raven Short, Keena Mays, and Karina Barker. You know, I mentioned Keena Mays in the open, but you got to take Akil Simpson. She is the heart and soul of this team, and they will go where she leads them.
And for Memphis, we talked about that freshman point guard. We talked about that sophomore off guard. They're looking to get some continuity at that point guard position, but also they need to play an all-around game. Aisha Fuqua Bay is a sophomore. Mariah Rouser. Who do you like in that lineup?
You know, I look at Mariah Rouser. She has come back, now a redshirt freshman after that terrible knee injury last year, and she has been able to see the game from the other side, and so she brings that experience, almost a coach's mentality, to the floor.
And that's what both coaches are looking for, so we are getting ready for the opening rituals. As we mentioned earlier, a new facility, $50 million in renovations as the Star Spangled Banner echoes in our ears. So we are just about ready for some women's basketball in the American Athletic Conference. This is both teams shaking hands, getting familiar. These are very familiar coaches with one another. Rhonda Rumpola, of course, played at SMU. Melissa McFerrin with a diverse background, both in the WNBA and also NCAA basketball. So we're getting ready for tip-off. What kind of game are you looking forward to, Tara?
I'm looking forward to a great game. We came all the way here to Dallas. It's cold.
It better be a good game.
Get warmed up in this gym, and it is going to be a great game. That's what I'm looking forward to. But all kidding aside, I think these are two evenly matched teams at two similar points in their season.
You see some Rhonda Rumpola and seniors on the court for SMU with the little celebration. Akil Simpson
and Keena
Mays. So they've had a storied career here at SMU.
And as good of ladies as they are players. We had a nice little
they
chat
were
with
giving us
them
a hard
earlier.
time. Giving us a hard time earlier about wanting to be in journalism was Akil Simpson. So great personality, and Rhonda Rumpola has just done a great job of building this program since 1991. We're ready for starting lineups here in Dallas, Moody Coliseum.
Memphis coming off a tough loss to UConn just a couple of nights ago. Really got away from them early, as it's getting away from a lot of teams that are going up against the Huskies. But in talking with Coach McFerrin, she said, you have to look at it, not that there are any moral victories, but in looking at the stints that we've had, there were some positives to kind of exude from that matchup.
Well, Connecticut is just so tough. It doesn't matter who you're facing. They're just a tough team to play. And so for every team that's going to have the opportunity to face that beast, that's a tough matchup all the way through.
What's tough is this Moody Coliseum. It is looking good.
To mention, Moody Coliseum underwent some renovations to the tune of $50 million. Added some suites, added some upgrades to locker rooms. I actually played in this facility just a few years ago, yes.
Just a
my senior season in 1986, and just a great history of women's and men's basketball in this place.
And I think with the new renovations, a lot of the coaching staff has told us what we really love is that it really feels homey in how they were able to open it up, and you get a little bit of daylight in here. It's feeling more and more like home. So it's great, not only for the women's team, but for the men's team as well, where some of that Moody magic was recreated just a couple of nights ago when the men's team got the best of the Connecticut Huskies.
And of course, Larry Brown, the men's coach here, coached in NCAA at Kansas, coaching the NBA, coached my good friend in the Indiana Pacers organization, Reggie Miller. So some great coaches have come through SMU. I tell you what, I don't know that we could play right now in women's basketball in the environment. You have to know too many hand signals during introductions.
You got to know a lot.
You got to know a lot. You got to high five, slap each other on the hand. You got to do 20 different things before you get to the court.
We had about 2 or 3 moves, and I thought I was hot. I was not.
I couldn't hang. Yeah, we couldn't hang with the introductions for today.
I have fun watching them, though.
Yeah. I need some cue cards to be introduced in today's NCAA environment.
But we joke about it. It does bring up a great point. In the SMU's last loss, their last game to USF, there was a little bit of quietness to them. There wasn't a lot of talking on the floor, not on defense, not from their guards on offense. And so that's something that they were going through at shoot-around today, and that, we joke about the handshakes and whooping it up, so to speak, but they want this team talking to one another. The more vocal, the more hype they get, the more hype, the more motivated they are.
Both coaches concerned about the lack of, verbal attention that the guards are giving their teams. And sometimes you and I played, and it's like sometimes you need that leadership on the court. You don't want to wait until your coach calls a timeout.
Yeah, I thought Coach McFerrin had the best statement when she said to us, listen, I can coach from the sidelines, but the really great teams, they have the coach and their point guard on the floor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what you want. We're set for tip-off. Only the second basketball game played in the newly renovated Moody Coliseum, and SMU will control the tip as Karina Baker anchors for SMU. And you see a lot of movement early in this SMU offense. Baker, long range, air ball.
She's going to shake that one off quickly.
Got to.
Get back on defense. She looks over to her coaching staff, just puts her arms up.
So Wilder Cochran will run it for Memphis. Guarded, of course, by the senior Keena Mays for SMU. 10 on the shot clock for Memphis. And steal by SMU, and here comes SMU in transition. Nice pass to Mays, but blocked by the tough Memphis Tiger defense.
Quick transition for Memphis. You're going to see them really sprint down the floor, but a nice job here by SMU, and Nikhil Simpson with the steal.
Simpson has it knocked away, and it will remain SMU ball. Hearn with a nice block on Nikhil Simpson.
And that's what you're going to get from those young guards. They are spunky. They might not have the leadership experience yet, but they got the talent.
Nice move inside by Simpson. And SMU will draw first blood.
Nikhil Simpson is really deceptively quick underneath the basket. She's got a quick drop step and turn.
So both teams like a motion offense, but both teams also launching those three balls early on.
Neither of these teams like the shot clock very much right now. They're not waiting for it too much.
A little pump fake. Down low to Simpson and one. So Nikhil Simpson will go to the free throw line for SMU.
Excellent pass there by junior Raven Short. Good court awareness, nice spacing by the Mustangs.
Nikhil Simpson, the 6-foot forward senior from Duncanville, shoots about 64% from the free throw line. Also very interested in taking one of our jobs, Tara, over here on the headsets. Is very interested in a broadcast job after graduation. Little mix up on the defense there. And Keena Mays with her first personal for SMU.
That foul caused by contact by Mays on the screener, something that the refs are really looking out for this season.
How do you think the new rules or the implementation of the new rules are affecting the game?
Well, I think they have the best interest of the shooter and the ball handler and the interest of the game becoming faster. And so for that, I think they're great. I think they're a little bit of growing pains, but I think they're moving in the right direction for the betterment of the game.
So the rules want to protect the shooters a little bit more, clean up some of the inside physicality as well. Up and over move is nice by Posada Hope for Memphis, her first bucket of the night.
She had her work cut out for her in that Huskies game, but she makes her living on both ends of the glass, on the offensive and the defensive. Right there you see her rewarding herself.
Nice defense by Memphis. And they can run the basketball. Posada Hope asking for the ball. You gotta love a big girl who demands basketball down low.
I know when my bigs used to call for it, they were getting it in a hurry. And what's great about that and what Hope will do, and when you see these type of plays here, especially for the Tigers, is they want to get it into her. If she wants it, they'll get it in. If they collapse, she's going to kick it out, and that's how they'll get a little more balanced offensive attack. That's really what Coach McFerrin has been looking for from her team lately.
You know, it's interesting. Sometimes post players are posting their brains out, and they don't necessarily always want to shoot it. Sometimes they just want to touch the ball, right?
Just a little touch.
Just exactly.
I'll give it back to you. Just so we know what it feels like here.
SMU with the 4-2 lead. You're just joining us on the American Digital Network. Fran Harris and Tara Petrolino, and SMU again with a nice move.
They're throwing 3 down on Hope right now, just collapsing. She's got to be able to get it out quicker. Back to her guards.
Here's a freshman from Duncanville trying to mix it up. It's Kiara Perry trying to mix it up for Duncanville. Duncanville with a fresh shot clock. 16:48 in the first half. SMU with a 4-point lead. Perry looking to drive. 14 on the shot clock for the Mustangs. And Gabrielle Wilkins gives it up and gets it back. Can't get it to go down, and here comes Memphis.
I wish she did. That was pretty
That's nice.
move.
Inside the Hope, easy work.
Pretty feed by Mariah Rouser.
Freshman with a long ball. And it's one and done for SMU.
You'd think the score was greater than 6-4 right now with how they've been moving up and down the court.
And a lot of shots as Rouser knocks that one down. Rouser, 5'9" freshman out of Rockville, Missouri. Gets her first bucket of the night.
Such a comeback story for her. Battling back from that knee injury last year. You see that bulky brace on her left leg. She'd rather have that brace than be sitting on the bench without it.
Here's a stop and pop, and gets the roll.
Ariel Hearn, a member of the Conference USA all-freshman team from just a year ago. So coming into this season with that pedigree.
SMU with 12 on the shot clock. Cardinal sin right there by Memphis is fouling the jump shooter. How many times did your coach tell you not to foul the jump shooter, Tara?
My coaches, my father, pretty much anybody that would listen told me, don't foul the jump shooter.
Back at Moody Coliseum, SMU behind here at home to the Memphis Tigers. What are you seeing so far in the first 6 minutes of the game, Tara?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of transition game here right now. Memphis is really trying to run. It was a point of emphasis before this game even started. Coach McFerrin wants them sprinting down the floor. We've seen a couple nice stop and pops, nice feed from Rouser down into Hope. And just overall, I see Memphis being the aggressor.
Now, both teams like to run. I would have to say that Memphis looking a little better in the running game right now. I mean, we got a pretty low-scoring affair here, but the transition game, you think, is fair and well for either team?
Wilkins is 73% free throw shooter. The sophomore makes the first one.
Wilkins gets the second free throw for SMU.
Our first made free throws of the game. In terms of field goal percentage, even though it's a low scoring affair here, Memphis with shooting nearly 67% from the floor.
Memphis easy work on the press break also.
They've got a good press break, and they were able to show a little bit of it in that game against the Huskies. If there were a couple bright spots, they did show a couple nice press breaks, and right there, that was evidence of it.
Trying to get it inside to Simpson, and then Perry comes away with it. She's so athletic to the hole, but can't get that one to go. And we're going to have a foul on the floor, but you just got to like the way Perry aggressively goes to the basket.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Any team you see a player hustle like that, you got to love it. But I think right there, Memphis did a nice job of getting tips in the passing lane. That's where you got to be talking to your teammate and saying, I got it, you know, so that ball doesn't bounce and end up back in the Mustangs' hand.
Fresh shot clock inside to Perry. Swivel move and gets it to go down.
Nice strong move right there by Perry.
Wilder Cochran will anchor for Memphis and give some direction to her teammate. 14 on the shot clock for the Tigers.
I don't know if the folks at home can hear Michelle McFerrin just screaming at Bria to just go get the ball, pleading with her freshman.
It will be SMU basketball. You know, both teams like to run, but I don't really think either of them is really getting a whole lot out of their half-court offense at this point. Coach Rhonda Rampola joked and said, you know, there's a magic potion for us getting it in the hole. Let me know what it is, because we haven't been shooting very well. I think Melissa McFerrin said the same thing to you.
I think both Melissa and Rhonda are both experiencing similar growing pains this season.
Kenya Mays to the hole with the left. The senior gets it to go down for the Mustangs.
She's just so explosive off the dribble, able to blow by defenders like we just saw there.
Kenya Mays' mother played at the University of Houston back when it was the Southwest Conference. I think I played against her mother. Here comes Mays again in open court. Mays, yes!
Gave herself a little separation with the step back through the leg dribble and just let it fly.
.15 on the shot clock for Memphis. Long range goes down for Wilder Cochran.
Wilder Cochran from Hoover, Alabama, was a three-time state champion at Hoover High School.
Brings that experience to the point guard position for McFerrin and the Memphis. 17 on the shot clock. The ball goes out of bounds. I think it will remain SMU basketball. And we're going to take a quick timeout and take a look at some of the game's highlights.
There you see Keena Mays just taking a couple dribbles back, had a nice through the leg dribble prior to that to create some separation. But right on the other end, it's Bria Wilder Cochran saying, hey, you can do that, so can I, senior.
Sometimes freshmen have no conscience, and they can either go in the right direction or you go in the opposite direction. But you got to love a freshman. Let's take a look at what Memphis has been up to in the first. 8 minutes of this ball game.
Attacking the middle. Stop and pop right at the charity stripe. And she knew she had a defender right there, gets the friendly bounce. Melissa McFerrin wants to see guard play, but she also wants to see offensive execution like that. Nice passing up the floor and the finish.
If you are just joining us on the American Digital Network, you're watching American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball, Memphis and SMU. And we are knotted at 15, and so far, Tara, it's been a competitive ball game.
Yeah, it has. Surprisingly, it's 15-15 because if you look at field goal percentages, Memphis is shooting out the gym with 70%. 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Of course, that was courtesy of Keena Mays, and that was her 35th three-pointer of the season. The rest of the team has 28 three-pointers, so she's sharing the lion's share right there of the load.
13 on the shot clock, senior Mays. Running the show for SMU. Tries to go inside to Akil Simpson, who was actually there.
I don't know how.
Got to get up, Simpson. Tied at 15 in the American Athletic Conference.
Mustangs showing a lot of different defensive looks, a lot of different kinds of zones.
One of the things that Melissa McFerrin said was that her team has been exposed for its outside shooting so far this season.
Right on cue.
Couldn't tell by that jump shot by Rouser. Baseline pass over, long ball just off the front of the rim, and here comes Memphis in transition. Nice pass ahead, and the bucket.
Run, run, run. It's what the Tigers want to do.
Courtney Powell with the bucket for Memphis. Freshman from Duncanville gets it to go down.
See the elevation she had on that shot?
Yes, I did, actually.
Got high above the defender.
That is Kiara Perry with a nice jumper. Keeping this one close are the Mustangs at home in their new facility. Seven on the shot clock. Memphis is nowhere to go, and she'll have to launch a three and get a three.
The Tigers are shooting out of their mind right now.
So Mack dials it from Nashville on the last bucket for Memphis. Coliseum. Fran Harris along with Tara Petrolino for some American Athletic Conference women's basketball between SMU and Memphis. This live broadcast is brought to you by LiveU Sports, the leader in turnkey live video production for sports. Of course, the American Digital Network. And so far, we've got a close ball game between two teams joining this new conference this season.
Old conference foes become new conference foes.
That's right. The jumper by Singleton is off for SMU.
5 blue jerseys crashing those boards right there. Well, 5 jerseys, 1 board. Let me clarify.
Mack fights for her own rebound, but here comes SMU in transition. had a jumper, swings it. Singleton with the rebound for SMU and a fresh shot clock for the Mustangs. And now Crystal Johnson will anchor it. Perry, 9 on the shot clock for SMU. Perry splits the defense. Can't get that one to go down, and here comes Memphis.
A little too much power on that shot for Perry. But I still like her intensity.
And she elevates, as you pointed out the last time down the court.
Yeah, she gets up.
And officials don't like the on-ball screen by Memphis. It'll be SMU basketball.
That one on Taylor Williams.
.832 remaining in the first half of play. And into the ball game for Memphis will be Jazz Swain and Wilder Cochran back in the game for Bowser and Hearn. We'll both take a seat.
You know, Memphis has been running all game so far, so that little break, a nice little breather that SMU is able to get without calling a timeout.
A little high-low action for SMU.
That's as pretty as you'll see an inbounds play work from the sideline. Perfectly executed. And a great finish.
Compliments of Singleton to Short. SMU basketball, and SMU looks like they're picking up the defense.
Yeah, I think in that last timeout, Rhonda Rampola really imploring her team to step up the intensity defensively. And you know how that goes. Once you're able to get a couple stops on defense, it starts giving you a little life on the offensive end, and we're starting to see that.
Imploring, I like that word.
What do you expect from an English major?
So you must have been an English major. She's imploring her team. I love that word. So Melissa McFerrin. Melissa McFerrin imploring her team to do something different on the defensive land.
Conference plus a visit with Temple's head coach Tanya Cardoza. Stick around, you won't want to miss that. Coming up, the American way at halftime.
All right, Mustangs fans, you Mustangs are hungry for a win, and you might be hungry for some pizza again. Well, good thing it's Papa John's pizza time.
We are back at Moody Coliseum on the campus of SMU, some American Athletic Conference. Women's basketball conference season just about a week old.
Right here we got Keena Mays with the step back. And there she is from the left side, taking it strong to the hoop. And I just love that feed from Mallory Singleton to Perry.
Well, coming into today's game, Memphis had shot 39% from the field, and today they're shooting 71%. So McFerrin's got to be happy with that, Tara.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anytime you see an uptick in offensive production, especially coming off the heels of that Connecticut loss, and she talked about that loss with us and said, I think the best thing we can take away from it is that it did not damage us. We are not damaged from that loss. We have a ton of life in us, and we are so ready to go into this season with just as much clear eyes and full hearts as we did prior to meeting up with Gino's team.
Well, she used the word damaged very specifically because we know, if you watch women's basketball, how powerful a team Connecticut is, and you could certainly come out of that contest with your confident shot.
I feel damaged watching them sometimes. We're not even playing.
You feel hurt for people.
Exactly.
And no question, Gina R.M. has done a great job with the Connecticut Husky program. On most people's list to get to the Final Four and, of course, win the NCAA championship. But I got to tell you, I've seen some Tennessee basketball. I've seen, and you've seen the Maryland Terrapins. So the journey to the tourney for Connecticut might be interesting.
Hey, the fact of the matter is, every time people go up against UConn, they get their best game. And right there, Pizzana Hope trying to bring her best game here tonight.
Pizzana Hope. Nice name. 2-on-2 game. Long ball for short. And SMU with a fresh shot clock. Senior tries to get something going offensively for SMU, but look at the running game of Memphis.
It's like a Heisman throw right there. She thread that needle between 3 white jerseys. What a beautiful pass right there from Ariel Hearn.
Look at the commitment of Memphis in their running game. It's impressive.
You got to play to your strengths. They know that is where their strength is. They don't have a huge amount of size. What they do have is speed.
Short again for a long ball. This one almost rolls in, but here comes Memphis again. McFerrin was saying, let's run our transition offense before we get into a real offense. And that's some real offense. So Ariel Hearn dials it from Plano, Texas.
5'7" sophomore came into this game second in the American Conference in scoring. She's just starting to heat up here in Dallas.
Let's take a look at some replays.
And there you see them get into the post, kick it out. Hearn's making the coaches look smart right now.
Making them look good.
I just love that pass. Cross-court pass in between 3 defenders. Perfect placement, and the finish there that time by Hope.
You got it. Now listen, if you're SMU 6 times today, what does SMU have to do?
Well, the problem for SMU is that they're crashing the boards because their shots aren't falling. So now they're going 4, sometimes all 5 people on the glass, and all it takes is 1 rebound up the court and you're burnt. And so that's where you have to make adjustments right now. And you got to put a body on someone. Memphis is scrappy. They're trying to get around you on the boards, and they're doing so right now. So they're really, if you're SMU, you got to really put a body on someone and box out.
Give and go. Wilkinson short. Nice play out of the timeout.
Or you just finished the first time. You don't have to worry about the rebound.
That's right. 5:49 remaining in the first half as Williams tries to go to the hole, and the entire SMU bench made that call for the official. So SMU looking for some more continuity on offense. Gets it down low to Simpson, who tries to go up over Hope. No going there.
That is a super athletic catch. The only problem is she's got to know where she is. She got too far underneath the basket.
18 on the shot clock for Memphis. Memphis a little patient on offense. Here comes Hearn for the 3. That is Hearn.
She has a high of 26 this season. We'll see if she's going to try to best that tonight. She is on course.
She's on a roll. Averages 18 points, 3 rebounds, 34 minutes for Memphis. So she's a high-producing guard. Short with a nice step through.
You're starting to see Ariel Hearn be a little more demonstrative in her arm movements and directing her team and where she wants them to go. That's really what Melissa McFerrin wants to see from her.
And certainly as they get deeper into conference, Okay, Hearn.
But if she keeps knocking down threes like that, I don't think Melissa will care what she does with her arm movements directing traffic.
Well, if you're SMU, what adjustment do you need to make? Clearly, she is feeling it tonight.
Find the shooter. Don't let her
It's simple,
shoot.
y'all.
Look for number 4 and put a hand in her face.
Seven on the shot clock for SMU. SMU, Wilkins tries to create to the hole. She goes. Not a great look for SMU. Now Mays with some tough defense on Hearn. Got 15 on the shot clock.
Yeah, Keena Mays is just going to face guard Hearn right now.
And then Simpson with the rebound. And will draw the foul. Memphis.
I think that one was on Jazz Swain.
Got us a timeout in Moody Coliseum. Fans' tickets are now on sale for the 2014 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Champion at Mohegan Sun Arena. All 10 American teams will battle for the championship from March 7th through the 10th in Connecticut. Ticket packages are just $99 and now available at theamerican.org/WBB. That's theamerican.org/WBB.
Such a great venue this year at Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut, where the WNBA's Connecticut Sun squad plays. So perfect place to showcase the amazing talent that the American Conference boasts.
You've done a couple of games for the American Conference. I did a game last week in Houston and USF. What's your take on it so far?
Well, I mean, you look at the 2 crown jewels right now of this conference in Connecticut and Louisville, of course, where we saw both those teams in the national championship game.
Yes.
No conference can say that, but this one. I like Rutgers this year. I think Coach C. Vivian Stringer, the Hall of Famer, has a strong squad. Of course, SMU will see the Scarlet Knights at the Rack in Jersey on Saturday. But right now, Memphis. Don't sleep on Memphis. Memphis is looking scrappy. They're looking hungry. They're fast. They can shoot.
They're shooting 75% in this game alone. 15 out of 20 from three-point land. They're shooting 60% in this ball game against SMU. SMU, on the other hand, shooting only 33% from the field, 12% from the three-point line, but 80% from the free throw.
Excited to see how this season shakes out in the conference. You know, so much is talked about the Huskies, and we're guilty of that too. I mean, there they are in all their glory. They're the best team in the country until someone proves all of us wrong, including them. But I think overall, you're going to see some really, really neat parity in this league going through the season, and I think there's going to be some closer games that people might not expect. You know, you got a really strong Temple squad under Tanya Cardoza. They're still learning. They're still getting their rhythm, finding their identity, but they're right in the mix with teams like Memphis and SMU and USF, who had a win here against the Mustangs.
Just joining us, Memphis on top of SMU by 15, 38-23, 2:55 remaining in the first half of American Athletic Conference basketball. But the other thing about playing in a conference with Connecticut is that when you play in a conference with the best, people recognize you. So the teams that are playing in this conference are also going to get some shine because they're playing in the conference with Connecticut.
Without a doubt, Fran. I couldn't agree more.
Little step through. Goodman tries to get her own rebound, and it will remain Memphis basketball. What sticks out to you on the stat sheet so far? 2 minutes remaining in the first half.
Well, you have to see how long Memphis is going to continue this shooting. I mean, they're shooting 75% from the field. And I know Coach McFerrin wanted to see an improvement offensively and a more balanced attack, but I mean,
come on.
I don't think she was quite expecting this type of performance, but she will take it. And they're a great steal by a freshman, Brandy Goodman. Good rotation. Unfortunately, we got a foul, so it'll stay here with the Mustangs.
Goodman nursing a back injury for Memphis, is just getting back, trying to get into playing shape. And she and Simpson are going at it right now as the official is saying, hey, hey. I think Simpson's a little frustrated by her game at this point.
I think she's starting to practice her broadcasting talents right now with the ref. She's got her hands up. She's trying to plead her case. I'm not sure if she's going to go into law or broadcasting. Either way, she's making her presence known.
That's what the officials are there for, to clean up that kind of thing. But, you know, I know in your game, you got away with some stuff. I know you did.
What are you talking about?
You got to try it.
Hey, I'm not a Jersey girl for nothing,
That's
okay?
right. That's why I said it. I know you got away with some stuff.
Rhonda Rumpola knows a thing, too, about that, too.
Rhonda Rumpola, of course, a great basketball player at Old Dominion, and then transferred to SMU, where she took over the head coaching duties in 1991, and has just done a great job of building this program.
Tremendous job here, and her legacy, you know, speaks volumes already, and the work here is not even done yet for her. But it's really been fun to see her kind of. It's always great when you see a player that comes back and is able to have such a successful run as a coach and play for your alma mater,
yes.
and then coach for your alma mater rather.
Simpson battling down low and gets her on rebounds. She's padding her stats.
Saw a little Charles Barkley face on that one. She was wanting it, she took it.
So now you see SMU with the little face guarding of Hearn.
Right now you got a lot of freshmen and young players on the floor for Memphis that aren't getting a ton of minutes, and a lot of people are just standing around. And Keena Mays is going to take advantage of that, being the seasoned veteran that she is.
Keena Mays, a 5'7" guard from Arlington by way of Kansas. Plays about 30 minutes for Rhonda Rumpola. 79% free throw shooter.
She was last year's Conference USA Player of the Year, also a WBCA All-American finalist. Just decided to come back to Texas, said she missed home.
Missed mama. Alyssa McFerrin will take a timeout. This lead down to 10 with just under a minute remaining in the first half.
Right there, a nice putback by the freshman Brandy Goodman, and then a steal. Unfortunately, a foul was called shortly thereafter, so it stayed down, and Akil Simpson just getting nasty with it underneath the boards, taking what's hers, and here she is, Keena Mays with the floater from the sideline, and one.
Mays is fierce. When she came over to the table to talk to us this afternoon, she's such a sweet girl, wasn't she?
So sweet.
She is fierce.
So sweet. Those are some of the most dangerous players
That's
I
right.
remember playing against. You know, they're like so cool, so calm, so collected. You know, I was always like, I'm ready, don't talk to me. But it's really those, cool criminals that really can get you. And she's one of them.
Smooth criminals. 54 seconds, about a 20-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. 15 on the shot clock now for Memphis. Rouser steps back, and then the freshman goes over the back. SMU with an opportunity to close out intermission.
She went over and through, and however she tried to get around Mallory Singleton. But the senior was not going to let that happen.
Not happening. On the line for SMU is Mallory Singleton. Only a 30% free throw shooter for SMU. Gets that one to go down.
From Flower Mound, Texas.
And then SMU with a little full court pressure to slow down Hearn, and we know how speedy, how quick she is. 20 on the shot clock. Five on the shot clock for Memphis, and pressure by SMU, and Simpson comes away with it, takes it right out of the freshman's hand.
Brandy Goodman had a couple of nice plays to start out, but now you're starting to see fatigue set in a little bit. Melissa McFerrin asking a lot of her, but she needs to just settle herself a bit, move her feet, get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals, because so far the seniors have taken advantage of the freshmen's inexperience from SMU.
So playing herself back into playing shape is Goodman. She's going to be replaced in the lineup.
You hear Pizzana Hope screaming, no foul, no foul, let's get out.
Ten seconds. Rouser over to Hearn, launches the three. And that's going to do it for the first half of play. Memphis on top by 7. So real quickly, Tara, what you see in the first half? What stands out for you?
I don't know how much better Memphis could shoot unless they didn't miss a shot. What's interesting about them shooting 70-75% in that first half is that up until just a couple minutes ago, they had 0 offensive rebounds because they haven't needed any. So you haven't really seen them tested on the glass. However, what I really like from SMU towards the very last minutes of that half is how they were able to counter through their senior leadership. Akil Simpson, Keena Mays, and then, of course, you saw Mallory Singleton all capitalizing off of rookie mistakes from Memphis. So going into the halftime, even though they're down by 7, the deficit was much greater. And Rhonda Rampolla has to be pleased with how they finished that first half.
So going into the locker room right now, what's Rhonda Rampolla saying to her team coming back into after the half?
Well, first she's saying, get your heads up. We are so in this game. I really like the hustle that I've seen, but we need more of it. We have to make our shots. You know, she talked about that before the game to us, and that she really needs her team to execute. And so I'm sure she's hammering that point home right now.
As Tara mentioned, Memphis shooting over 70% in this ball game. They also got 16 points from their bench, so they're outplaying the SMU bench at this point.
Yeah, they are. And Melissa McFerrin has to be pleased with that. It's probably a big reason she tried to shake it up a little bit, and that Brandy Goodman, due to some foul trouble with other players, got as much PT as she did in that latter part of the first half. But I think what's important for Memphis is to get back to the original game plan, which was to sprint to transition, get some easy buckets. They were best out in the open court, and that's what they're going to need to return to.
All right, the score here in Dallas is 38-31. Let's take a look at our quick halftime show.
Okay.
Welcome to another edition of The American Way here on the American Digital Network. I'm John Brooks. The week and the start to the new year has been a good one for some teams, not as good for others, and a learning lesson for much. But some potential contenders may be emerging to challenge the nationally top 10-ranked Huskies and Cardinals. Of note, Temple lost to Louisville on New Year's Day by just 9 points, but may have learned a little something about themselves in the process. And more on that coming up as well. We'll start with Who's Hot? And with an extra dose of confidence in hand, the Temple Owls turned the tables on high-scoring guard Breonna Jackson and the UCF Knights on January 4th, winning by 21 points and holding Jackson to just 10 points on 4 of 17 shooting after she had torched number 1 ranked UConn for 28 points with 6 trays. Jackson, with at least 13 other outstanding players in the American Athletic Conference this year, still remains one of our 14 to watch in 2014, and you can follow our featuring of these players right here on theamerican.org. Now, one of those sure to make the list, SMU's Keena Mays topped the 1,000-point mark for her career with 15 points and an 11-point win over Cincinnati. And her teammate, Akil Simpson, also hit the 1,000-point plateau in a loss to USF. And a few other career superlatives were accomplished this past week. UConn's Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis scored 21 points in leading the Huskies to a big win at Memphis. But in that game, her teammate, Stephanie Dolson, scored her 1,500th career point, pulling down her 7th double-double of the season. Louisville's Shoni Schimmel led her Cardinals with 21 points and a 64-45 win over Cincinnati. Kalia Copper scored 25 points to lead Rutgers past Houston, but it was a teammate also grabbing a share of the American spotlight. As far as the Player of the Week, Schimmel was named the Player of the Week in the American Athletic Conference, with the senior sharpshooter averaging 18 points in 2 wins for the Cardinals. Schimmel connected for 21 points, including a season-high 5 threes in a win over the Cincinnati Bearcats. The Freshman of the Week is Ariadna Pujol from USF. Pujol averaged 11 points and 5 rebounds, chipped in a couple of assists in an undefeated road week for the Bulls. Of note, a 14.6 rebound game at Houston helped USF to a win on New Year's Eve. On the honor roll this week, UConn's Stephanie Dolson posted her 7th double-double of the season against Memphis, as we mentioned earlier. Natasha Thames had a huge game for Temple, 24 points against Louisville, and then followed up with a solid game in a home win against UCF. The Knights' Breonna Jackson makes the list, thanks to her 28-point game against the Huskies. And Kalia Copper of Rutgers had her big game against the Cougars, and SMU's Keena Mays averaged better than 20 points per game in a 1-and-1 week for the Mustangs. The Temple Owls earned an impressive 7-54 win at home on January 4th against the UCF Knights, with Tiana Williams lighting it up from the outside with 5 threes, 4 in the second half, and a team-high 19 points. Shahira Shipp also joined the double-double party this week. 13 points and 10 boards in the game, but it was the team's defense that also stood out. As mentioned earlier, the Owls held the Knights' Breonna Jackson to just 10 points on 4 of 17 from the floor, and Temple coach Tanya Cardoza joins us. Coach, defense was clearly a focal point for your team against UCF in limiting Jackson. What did you do to isolate Jackson like you did?
We tried to trap her as much off the ball screen and try to keep the ball out of her hands. I thought, our guards did a good job of containing her, and then when she came off the ball screen, our bigs did a really good job of showing her and not letting her turn the corner. They use a lot of ball screens, and she's a really good shooter off of them, so trying to make sure that she didn't have those looks. She got a couple of them, but for the most part, I thought we did a good job of making other guys shoot the basketball. And some guys stepped up and made shots, but limiting her, I thought, was the key for us to win the game.
The win was Temple's 8th of the year, 2nd in conference play. You've got some solid road wins already this year. What is it about playing on the road, and what makes your team tough to deal with?
I really don't know. I think we're just trying to stay focused when we're on the road and not take it for granted. I think they enjoy being around each other, and just knowing that we're usually the underdog in that situation, and knowing that we don't have anything to lose. And I think what's tough for us, the reason why we're a tough team to play against is, our balance. We have multiple guys that can put the ball in the hole. Defensively, we can scramble around and help each other out. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why we're a tough team to play against.
In a league that could be called a little top-heavy with teams like UConn and Louisville leading the way, What's it going to take to gain a little notoriety for a team like yourselves? Temple's RPI is a solid 34 heading into the week. What else can you do to put your team on the national radar?
Win games. You know, we've played some solid basketball against really good opponents, but we haven't come away with the win. I think if we win those games, you know, people start taking notice. But because we keep coming up on the stick, it's just, you know, a team that's pretty good but hasn't been able to win the big ones. And we have to figure out ways to win the ones that people really think that we can't.
You have a rather unique mix of experience and youth on the roster, with a fifth-year grad student like Shahira Shipp at one end and a fantastic freshman like Fiona Fitzgerald who can absolutely fly on the other end. What has it been like trying to blend these talents together?
I think their personalities are solid, and no one guy really cares about scoring, and I think that's been the biggest thing. We haven't had to deal with issues where people are worried about putting points on the board. I think we're very unselfish, and we play for each other. That's been our biggest thing, is making sure that we're all in this together, and it's not one man show. But it just so happens that every single night there's been a different guy to shine for us, and that's been, you know, what we want. So that way teams can't key in on one particular person.
One thing that makes the Owls tough, in your mind, Coach, what would that be?
We don't give up no matter what. We fight. I think we have the heart to compete against anyone, and it definitely shows with the schedule that we've had this season. It's one of our toughest schedules since I've been here. And no matter what the case is, we've been fighting. You know, we've been down a lot of points to some solid teams and found a way to come back in those games. So I think it's just our toughness right now.
Tanya Cardozo, in her 6th season as coach of the Temple Owls. Coach, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, let's move on. Who's got next? Conference play has arrived for keeps, so you won't get any of these coaches looking too far down the road at their schedules, but we will. Number 1 ranked UConn gets a supreme test from the Baylor Bears January 13th in Waco, Texas, a game that will be televised nationally. 7th ranked Louisville will earn some frequent flyer miles over the next week or so, with games in Florida at USF and then a Texas two-step at SMU and Houston coming up. Rutgers will get a challenge at Memphis before then testing themselves against UConn. USF has a bragging rights game at UCF on January 18th, and SMU plays at Temple January 14th in a game between potential postseason teams. That's our time this week with the American Way. Thanks to Temple coach Tanya Cardozo for joining us, and for everyone who's been a part of this one here, well, we hope you learned something. I'm John Rook.
Okay. Take a quick look at the replays now from the first half. Right here, Akeel Simpson working hard underneath the basket. And then Keena Mays, she's gotten it done underneath the basket from outside. Beautiful feed right there. That one a Raven short. And there it's short again. Simpson's just been battling.
I think she got frustrated in the first half. I like to see the fire that she has coming back in the second half. We saw some of that at the end of the first half for Simpson. Here's where Memphis is really, really tough at their defense when they turn it into offense.
Right there, Pizzana Hope. Had some nice plays, but I guess the talk of the first half for the Memphis Tigers had to be Ariel Hearn, as well as their transition game.
Ariel Hearn,
Wilder Cochran. And then there's Mariah Reiser.
Ariel Hearn was 4 of 6 in the first half, 3 of 5 from downtown for a total of 11 points, 5 assists, and 2 blocks.
You know, Hearn was averaging 2.4 three-pointers per game. She already has 3 today, 3 of 4. She's hit 3 or more 7 times. She has a season high of 5 threes 3 times. So we'll see if she can best that number today. Welcome back to Dallas on the campus of SMU, Moody Coliseum, newly renovated Moody Coliseum. SMU and Memphis American Athletic Conference basketball being brought to you by the American Digital Network. Broadcast is also brought to you by Live View Sports, the leader in turnkey live video production for sports. So we've got second half action coming up, 38-31, Memphis on top by 7. Tara, we talked about what SMU needs to do to kind of cut into this lead. What does Memphis want to continue to do in the second half? They want to get out and run. They really need to get back to what they were doing earlier in the first half, which has been quick transition up the court, crashing the board, have an outlet, cross-court passes, and finishing with the layup. That's really where their bread and butter came from. Also, you want to ride the hot hand. If Ariel Hearn is knocking down threes anywhere on the court, find her. The problem with that is SMU adjusted, and then they had Keena Mays face guarding her all around the court, and she kind of cooled from there. Also for Memphis, look for Mariah Reiser, the redshirt freshman. She was the second leading scorer last year before her knee injury. Coming in this year, she's averaging just about 9 points per game, has about 5 already today. But you can see with each game that she plays now, she's starting to get a little bit more involved in the offensive set, starting to get her rhythm back, starting to get her comfortability back, and I think it's really starting to show. So look for her to be a major presence in the second half.
Now, Memphis did cool off a little bit in the first half. They ended up shooting about 57% from the field, 50% from three-point land. So I think, as you mentioned, SMU made some defensive adjustments, and then SMU upped their field goal percentage just a tad to 35.5%. But you got to think that the two seniors, Mays and Simpson for SMU, are going to be a little bit more inspired in the second half.
Yeah, without a doubt. Right now, Simpson, Perry, Mays, and Short are combined 11 for 24 from the field for just about 46%. All the other SMU players are 0 for 7. So while, yes, you do want those big four on the board, you also want a little bit more of the ball passed around, a little bit more contributions from some other players.
So the 5 on the floor for Memphis are Wilder, Cochran, Hope, Wilkins, not Wilkins, Hearn, and Rouser. 10 on the shot clock. A little travel by Wilder Cochran. And SMU came back the second half with a little more intense on the defensive end.
Yeah, that was a good defensive set there for the Mustangs. Wilder Cochran got in trouble. She looked to pass it out to the wing, and the Mustangs defense adjusted, and then she lost her footing.
So the quick first step by the freshman Perry, almost a turnover, but SMU's ball, 19 remaining on the shot clock. SMU still trailing by 7 in this ball game.
Well, this is where they can capitalize early in this half. After defensive stops, we need to exchange a defensive stop for a bucket. We'll see if they're able to do that.
Here's May with the split.
Looked like Mays fell away a little bit from that shot instead of going straight up to the hoop.
So Mays and Hope getting tangled up. And it's going to be a foul on Mays.
It's number 2 for Mays. No complaints from her. She just keeps on playing.
Nice bucket by Fuquay Bay. Lifts Memphis 40-31. And then Simpson with a nice pass over to Perry, who can't connect. And the senior gets her own rebound.
Nice job there by Simpson. First on the recognition that she was getting double teamed and the quick pass to the other block, but then an opportunity for her to get some points of her own as she was able to stay home and get the offensive rebound, excuse me.
So Akil Simpson, a 6'4" forward from a 6-foot forward from Duncanville.
I was wondering where those other 4 inches were.
Duncanville, of course, a storied basketball program just south of Dallas, coached by Kathy Self, who played her college basketball at the University of Texas at Austin. And they continue to produce some great high school players who go on to do great things at the next level. Simpson ahead to Perry. Perry will pull up and get it.
Keep an eye on Kiara Perry. She's going to be a major player in this conference over the next 4 years. She was the American Conference Freshman of the Week from the December 30th award.
Rouser tries to pull up and get it to go, but 13 on the shot clock for Memphis now. Hope. SMU with an opportunity to cut this lead. They are down 5 as Mays measures. Nice lob inside and on. It's a great pass, though.
It's a pretty pass. If you're Akil Simpson, you got to finish that, girl.
Bowser comes off the pick and roll, pulls up. And Hope almost got it, but here comes Mays. Mays looked to pass and dump it off, but will come away with drawing the foul. Hearn with her second foul, and Bowser will take a seat for Memphis.
You got Perry, Mays, Simpson, and Short right now with 31 points for SMU. Everybody else has 4.
Memphis up 5. 17:33 remaining in the game is Simpson with the turnaround jumper, can't get it to go. And look at SMU board the ball.
Memphis just wants a trap all day long when they get it out on the wings.
3 ball. A nice hustle for the ball, but it will be SMU's basketball with a fresh shot clock.
Smart play by Kiara Perry. You know, in talking to Simpson and Mays before today's game and what they think about Perry, and they said she needs 100% confidence. She just needs a little more confidence. She's going to be great.
And isn't that the case for most freshmen? The case for most freshmen, if they just had consistent confidence, they'd be amazing. Perry.
They're not all Diana Taurasi's coming out the gate, are they?
No. Or Maya Moore's.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Brittany Griner's or Odyssey Sims.
But even in mentioning those greats, and they are all amazing players, they had their growing pains too.
Everybody was a freshman.
The game is fast. I don't care how many club teams you play on and where you travel to, the game is fast. And subsequently, when you make the jump to the WNBA, so many of the players say the game is so physical.
Right.
These girls are so tough and strong, and it's so much more physical than what we even had at the highest of Division I.
So Mays will take a seat for SMU. Into the game is Baker. SMU with a fresh shot clock. Simpson with a nice tough cut to the basketball.
Memphis has got to know that they can't fight through these screens. They have to either go under them or around them, but sprint through them, but they can't fight through them.
Two-man game. Nice. Nice pick and roll there with Singleton again with the pick and roll, and SMU with nice movement.
I think she called it. I heard her.
You got to call that. Baker with the three, and now SMU trails by 2.
Bank shot or not, that's how you reward good passing.
And that's how you come back down the court. Wilder Cochran with a nice leaner for Memphis. They go up by 4. 15:44 remaining in the ball game. Perry's first step is crazy. He's got a quick first step. We've got a timeout here in Dallas.
Where curiosity is transformed into unexpected creativity, where a little ingenuity leads to a world of opportunity. Here, generations discover what it means to dream, to think.
Hey, Mustang fans, it's time to meet tonight's Marooners bound in the game, Analia. Give her a big round of applause. This is a Mustang fan. It's a Mustang prize match. It's all the benefits of being an official.
Back at Moody Coliseum, here's the best of what's happened so far in the second half.
I think SMU has certainly stepped up their intensity. Memphis is still knocking down some baskets, but they haven't been able to run on the Mustangs. They've had to do it in their half-court sets. For the Mustangs, they're hitting their shots. They're hitting more shots than they did in the first half, and they're really starting to work the ball around the perimeter and give themselves a little bit more time to set things up. Even though Memphis is trying to trap, particularly on the wings so far, SMU has done a nice job evading that pressure, therefore freeing up some easy shots down on the post.
I think we're going to invest in some SMU knee pads for Coach Rhonda Rampola. She likes to get on her knees and draw for her team. I think whatever she told them at halftime really inspired them to up their level of intensity. They're only down by 4. What have they done differently here in this half?
For the Mustangs?
Yeah.
I think most importantly is that they're just slowing down a little bit. Not that they're slowing down their pace, but they're just taking an extra beat, looking the ball into their hands, working it around, and I think that has made a difference. On top of that, they've been able to get some nice pressure on the boards. They've been able to rip down a couple offensive rebounds, give themselves a new life, so to speak. And when you have girls like Singleton knocking down some, short jumpers on the baseline, it definitely helps to bridge the gap.
SMU with 17 points off turnovers. And also 6 points from the bench, and they've actually upped their transition buckets as well, but their half-court offense is just better than it was in the first half. So this lead now cut to 2. 15 remaining in the second half. Memphis with a 2-point lead, 44-42 here at Moody Coliseum in Dallas. If you're just joining us, you're watching the American Digital Network. The live broadcast is brought to you by LiveView Sports, the leader in turnkey live video production. I'm Fran Harris, along with my broadcast partner, Tara Petrolino. I played in Italy. I may have to say that really like Italian. Petrolino. I got to do that. Petrolino. See, 15 minutes.
You're making my mom and dad proud right now hearing their name as they're watching from New Jersey. Nice put back right there from Memphis coming out of that inbounds play. That pass is never going to get there. When you see two blue jerseys in front of you with a little bit of height and athleticism, it is most likely not going to get down to Simpson on the block. I can assure you of that.
It's a pick 6. 15 on the shot clock to the hole, and a foul on Baker.
That's okay, though. I like that defensive pressure by Karina Baker. I like where she's coming with that aggression. No, you don't want to get foul trouble there, but it's the right play.
Baker with her first personal in the ball game. Memphis now again with a 4-point lead as Hearn goes to the hole, and blue jerseys all over the boards, but SMU comes away with it. Mays with a nice pitch ahead.
Now that is how you flow the pass into the post in transition. A beautiful feed by Keena Mays and a good finish by Simpson. The 1-2 punch, we've seen it time and time again from these two. They need more of that.
Hearn with another bucket. And then a little miscommunication between Simpson and Mays.
Those are the turnovers that drive coaches crazy. That is just a lack of focus right there. You need to know where your teammates are on the floor. You don't want to give the ball back to your opponent in their end of the floor.
Especially when you're cutting into their lead. 13:43 remaining in the ball game. Memphis with a 4-point lead over SMU in this American Athletic Conference game. Fuquay Bay tries to go around Simpson. Nice with the left.
Really nice move there by Fuquay Bay. Out of Chicago, Marist High School.
Perry tries to go around, 10 on the shot clock. Singleton with the drive and the bucket.
That's her sweet spot. And at 6'2", there's not many that can counter it. That's on Mays. Absolutely great call by the official. You cannot use your elbow to make space like that. Contact on the offensive player. That is now her 3rd.
Well, this is going to be a different ball club if Keena Mays has to go out.
Just a little bit, you think?
Yeah. So she's got to be careful. 18 on the shot. You just get the sense that Memphis feels in control of this ball game, how patient they are on offense.
Yeah, you know what, Fran? You also feel like they're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I was about to say that the last time down the court with Ariel Hearn. She's really come out tonight with a little bit of an attitude. Not arrogance, not cockiness, just a little bit of she's got something to prove.
Ariel Hearn has started all 14 games for Memphis, the 5'7" sophomore from Memphis. In fact, the only player on this team from Memphis, Tennessee, Arlington High School, so she's doing the Arlington High School folks proud tonight.
You know, we've talked about the significance of these two teams now joining the American Conference, and in terms of recruitment, Melissa McFerrin really has started to branch out a bit, you know, looking in Chicago and D.C., of course, where she has WNBA roots. And she's also done a great job adding Big Ten and Big 12 conference games. Joining a conference like this comes with great responsibility, and you start to get noticed on a lot more different platforms than perhaps you did before.
Absolutely. Now you're also recruiting against the likes of Rutgers and Connecticut. So you're getting different looks at different athletes as well.
Absolutely.
So Baker making a little little bit difficult for SMU on the offensive end, trailing by 4.
I'm all about the no-look pass. You got to make sure your player's there and open.
7 on the shot clock. We'll mix up offensively, but we've got a 3-second violation on Memphis. Not a good possession, and we have a timeout. Let's take a look at the highlights from tonight's game.
Too much bunching there by the Tigers. They got to be cognizant of their spacing, particularly in the key. But on the other end, freshman Kiara Perry, I don't want to say she's having her coming out party, but she has certainly done big things tonight, as had Mallory Singleton.
Perry with 8 points on the ball game.
Singleton just loving that baseline jumper. And here, get by with a little help from your friends and the glass. Rena Baker done some good things here in the second half, and she's been just the spark that SMU has needed.
Fans, tickets are now on sale for the 2014 American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship at the Mohegan Sun Arena. All 10 American teams will battle for the championship from March 7th through the 10th in Uncasville, Connecticut. Ticket packages are just $99 and now available at theamerican.org/WBB. That's theamerican.org/WBB. You're watching Coach Rhonda Rampola, who was an outstanding shooter, who also played for SMU back in the day. Now the coach at SMU doing a great job of branding and building this program into a national power. She's been here since 1991. And her team is trailing by 4 with 11-12 remaining in the ball game.
And this is the close type of game we expected from these two squads coming into the contest tonight, Fran. I think on a lot of levels they're very evenly matched in both size and talent and the mix of youth and senior leadership. And so on paper, they're even. Sometimes when you get on the court, you're not sure, but it's proven to be so. And of course, a nice job by the Mustangs coming back, because it was all Memphis all of the first half of the first half.
SMU looking for a little high-low action, and I like Short. Short's got a nice little game. Takes it to the hole, draws a foul, and SMU gets a fresh shot clock.
That's her third.
So SMU, I was going to say, barely getting the ball in on time, and there's a 5-second violation. On the shot clock for Memphis. We'll give and go. Nice pass underneath. And SMU now in transition. I'm watching Keena Mays, and I'm wondering how fast she can get from one end of the court to the other. What's your guess? I figure it's about 4 or 5 seconds that Keena Mays can get from one baseline to the other.
Maybe a little faster than I can, I would say.
Back in the day or now?
Now. Give myself a little credit.
There you go. So Perry at the free throw line for SMU. Perry, the 5'10" guard from Duncanville.
But maybe not quite as fast as Whitfield last night for Florida State with his 100-yard touchdown return.
That was nice.
My goodness.
What a game.
That's a fast freshman.
What a game that was.
It was one for the ages.
Everything was worth the price of admission. Congratulations to the Florida State Seminoles on their BCS National Championship.
And to the Auburn Tigers. They both put on a show.
Year. Great year. 7 on the shot clock here in Dallas. To the basket with the bucket is Wilder Cochran.
She came up limping a little bit on that one. Strong move to the hole, though. I like how she cupped the ball, making sure no one tries to take it from her.
You're right, she is limping, but not asking for a sub yet. It's a 5'9" freshman from Hoover High School in Hoover, Alabama.
Does have a soft brace on that right knee. That seems to be the leg she is favoring. Whether or not something to the knee or the ankle, I'm not sure, but she seems to be hustling up the floor okay now.
Short. It's short. Long ball, wow. That's Mack from downtown from Memphis.
There was just no hesitation in that shot, and there was no hesitation with that ball flying through the net.
Well, there's a lot for Rhonda Rumpola to talk about over there in her huddle. They trail 8 points. What does SMU need to do to cut into this lead?
Well, they can't turn the ball over, neither on the defensive or on the offensive end. They make a great stop, and then they lose the ball on the sideline. Or right there, you saw just too quick of a shot. It's not necessarily the look you want right off the bat.
Well, SMU's thinking they can do exactly what Memphis is doing, which is shooting the long ball. How effective do you think Memphis has been the last few minutes of the game?
I think that was a great three right there we saw, but I think overall Memphis is doing really well executing their offensive sets. They were trying so hard to do that transition game with the sprinting into transition in the first half. Right now, because of SMU's uptick in defensive effort, they've had to now set up their half-court offense, and they've done a solid job in maintaining.
We take a look at the dribble drive here, and she's gotten that all night.
Kukwebe, Wilder Cochran, Ariel Hearn, they've all done a really solid job for the Tigers, especially in this second half. They had a very sizable lead. They were also shooting literally the lights out here in the first half, so we knew that was going to wane a little bit. They're not going to keep 75% up. But they still have a 7-point lead. And I don't know if that lead is as much what they're doing or as much as what SMU's letting them do.
Well, I agree with you. You look at how hot they were in the first half, and part of it is that they pulled off, and SMU's playing a little bit better in the half-court game. So SMU trails by 8, 9:07 remaining in the ball game. You're watching the American Digital Network, powered by Live U. Fran Harris along with Tara Petrolino. 14 on the shot clock for the Mustangs. They find Mays. She launches. That one is short, but cleaned up by Simpson. So Akil Simpson trying to get it going for SMU, cutting this lead to 6 now. 8:35 remaining in the ball game. That's too easy down low for Memphis.
Akil Simpson, this is her 14th game in double digits out of 15 games, so she finds a way to produce for this team.
And a turnover by Memphis gives it back to SMU with an opportunity to cut this lead again.
Mays came into this game the #1 scorer in the American Conference at 19.9 points per game. Today, so far, only 5.
So freshman Perry back in the game. 15 on the shot clock. Simpson goes to work with the right hand.
Check that. It's 8 points for Mays, but it's all Mallory Singleton right now, who's certainly stepping up big for the Mustangs this half.
Singleton with 8 points for SMU, and this lead is now to 6. Baker wondering what the call is. They're going to say there's a little bit of a sticking your body out. Rhonda Rampola also questioning the call. But so Memphis with a 57-51 lead. Let's listen in to an interview with Coach Melissa McFerrin.
I'm joined right now by Memphis head coach Melissa McFerrin. Coach, coming into a new conference this year, some big dogs, some of the best teams in the nation you're going up against on what is a regular basis. So what's it meant for your team and for you personally to come into the American Conference?
Well, we've had a year to think about this process. However, having a year to think about it and a year to really get acclimated to it are two very different things. So what we're doing is trying to expose our players to a very, very high level of competition of basketball, trying to help them understand that every day, every game, every rebound is critical. And we'll just have to grow into this conference much like a young team has to grow into being an experienced team.
Will you provide my next transition into your young team, specifically your young guard play? So how are you getting these ladies ready night in and night out?
Well, luckily I have two very talented guards that are very competitive. So if you look at Bria Wilder-Cochran and Ariel Hearn, they like the bright lights, they like to have responsibility on their shoulders, and they're very, very willing to be coached. They're also anxious to compete. So when we put them on the court every night, they don't care who the other team is, they just want to play.
In terms of leadership, who have you been most impressed by this season, and who have you really relied upon that much of this team's going to get on their shoulders?
It's definitely going to be Bria and Ariel, but off the court, it's Mariah Rouser and Fasana Hope. They're the two young ladies that stepped up early in this transition from last year to this year and said, Coach, I want to run this team in the locker room. I want to run this team when we're off the court and even on the court. So I want that responsibility. And anytime a player wants that responsibility and they're the right type of young person, then we're going to grow them into that responsibility.
Coach, thanks. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Good stuff, partner. Coach Melissa McFerrin. The Memphis squad is leading by 6 here with 7:34 remaining in the ball game in this American Athletic Conference.
They've got 7 3-pointers tonight. It's the most against SMU this season. They are 7 of 15 from beyond the arc.
Fresh shot clock gives Memphis another opportunity to extend this lead. And we've got a whistle and a foul on Fuquay Bay. And that's her 4th. So a break for SMU.
Memphis with the 6-point lead. But they lead 7-4 since Ariel Hearn sat down with her 4th foul. So they've done a nice job there, stemming the tide with their point guard on the bench with 4 fouls.
That's a beautiful first step. Perry now with 9 points for SMU.
Came in averaging 7.4.
All right, make that 11 points for Perry for SMU. We got a tie-up jump ball, and it's going to be SMU basketball. You were saying?
Just in looking at Kiara Perry right now, she really has let her presence be known. She's made her presence felt by not only Memphis but her teammates, and I think she's instilling a bit of fire in the rest of the girls in the white jerseys here with her outstanding play. She's starting to take over this game.
Has that kind of ability, and I'm telling you, one of the quickest first steps I've seen in women's basketball this year.
She's finding that quiet confidence that Simpson and Mays were talking about, and we're hoping that she would get.
So SMU has cut this lead to 2 with 6:23 remaining in the ball game, and it's been behind the sensational freshman Kiara Perry, who's been doing it all for SMU, but everybody's gotten into the action. Singleton started them off.
It's been Singleton, it's been Simpson, it's been Mays, and it's definitely been Perry. She has 13. It's tied Simpson for the team Perry's in double figures for the 5th time this year.
So the seniors, you see senior to senior, want to go out on top.
You know, it's important to win on the road, but it's important to win at home.
Yep. Yes, it is. You're watching the American Digital Network. SMU in Memphis, if you're just tuning in. Got us a ball game. 6:17 remaining in the second half. That's a crucial rebound by Memphis. 5 on the shot clock. Long ball. And a big rebound again by Memphis. They are working the boards.
They're quick. They're just quick around the glass. Then they're scrappy and they get underneath people.
Nice defense by Singleton. SMU basketball.
Some people at home might be confused by that. Where that foul goes to the Memphis player there is because she created the foul. Even though Singleton might not have been in her spot, it was the foul on the offensive player there. It was her offensive conduct that created the foul, and that's why it was not called on Singleton. That's been a point of emphasis coming into the season, and something different that we might not have seen in seasons past.
Substituting into the ball game for Memphis is Hearn. She takes Jazz Swain out of the ball game. SMU trails by 2, 5:30 remaining in the second half. 13 on the shot clock. And nice patience. Powell inside, splits the defense, and a 3 almost goes in, and then Memphis again with an offensive rebound. $17 on the shot clock. Hearn passes up a 3, and then they go inside to Hope with the left, in and out, but Memphis doing work on the boards.
Devin Mack's been working all day on the boards. She came in only averaging 2.5 rebounds per game, but she is just getting in people's way, and she's keeping it alive for the Tigers every time down the floor.
Powell will take a seat. Sukwe Bay comes back in the ball game from Memphis. Fresh shot clock. And there goes the penetration and the floater. Looks like Simpson may have been wrapped up on the play. Five on the shot clock for SMU. And Singleton lets it rip and gets it. And SMU takes the lead in this ball game, 58-57.
Senior Mallory Singleton came in averaging 3.6 points per game. She's got 11 tonight.
Hearn with the left and the foul. So SMU showing some toughness here at home. Now with a 1-point lead over Memphis, 3:47 remaining in the ball game. How did they chip away at this lead, Tara?
Well, the Mustangs have chipped away with some unsung heroes like a Mallory Singleton. Right there, Wilder Corcoran with a nice move to the basket. And the Tigers have been shooting the lights out from beyond the arc, but it just hasn't been enough as Mallory has exploded for 11 points. And suddenly those elbow jumpers, those short baseline hoppers are going in, and they're giving SMU life. And now look at this, the home team with a 1-point lead.
So you think there's any chance that Memphis got complacent in their lead, or you think SMU just started to play better? Or a combination?
I think the Mustangs have started to play better. Melissa McFerrin is not going to stand for her team to be complacent. I do feel, though, with Ariel Hearn on the bench with 4 fouls, having her just come in, they're just trying to gel with the personnel that's on the floor, and they are starting to just kind of sit in their stance a little bit, not really moving, not moving the ball, not moving themselves, and so it's been a little bit slower of a pace for them than they would like.
But I also think you see the difference between a team that has a veteran leader in Mays and the freshman and the sophomore on this side of the ball. I think we're seeing some of that as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. When you have a veteran leader like Karina Mays, like Akil Simpson, those are the ones that are really stepping up and guiding this team, even if it's just vocally.
Yes. And those are lessons that freshmen and young players have to learn. You go on the road, you can steal one on the road. That's what you do. Hearn at the line for Memphis. She's got 13 points in the ball game. She's also got 4 fouls, so she's got to play smart here for the remaining 3:47. Hearn, of course, is that 5'7" sophomore for Memphis at the line. Shoots 59% from the free throw line, by the way.
Memphis does not want to go down 0-3 to start conference play. And that is what they're facing right now, down by a point against the home team with 3:47 to play.
Hearn's first one is up, ties the ball game. Memphis now with an opportunity to take the lead. And they do. And now SMU will allow Baker to run the point and find Mays in a position, more of a scoring position for the Mustangs. Perry with the ball. And you notice they're on Singleton now. She's not getting another open jumper.
Fuquay Bay is like, it ain't happening on my watch, I can assure you, Mallory.
Mays to the hole. Floater. Nice block.
Big time block by Pizzana Hope. Now let's see what the Tigers do. They want to slow things down a little. Melissa McFerrin's looking to eat a little clock with her squad.
Nice pass down low to Hope. And
that's Memphis a pretty play.
Memphis now
and nicely done by Fuquay Bay over to Hope. Drew just the right amount of defense in order to get that floater pass down into Hope.
Beautiful lob pass to Simpson. Puts SMU behind by 1.
Got ourselves a good one here in Dallas tonight, Fran.
It's a good one. American Athletic Conference basketball. SMU Memphis, 2:26 remaining in the ball game. And Hearn now goes past Perry.
I think Perry got a tip of that.
And it will remain Memphis basketball. Big break for Memphis. They get a fresh shot clock as well. Three ball. And now SMU with an opportunity to take the lead. 2:07 in the ball game. And the basket does not count. We've got a foul on the floor. Akil Simpson. It's an illegal screen. Akil Simpson, 15 points in the ball game. And a costly foul. Getting her first personal. 1:57 left in this one, folks. Nine on the shot clock. to the basket, little roll. A miscommunication, and SMU with another opportunity.
What the Mustangs are doing a great job of, which is interesting because Memphis has shot so well from the outside, but SMU's really hunkering down in the paint and not allowing the Tigers to get down into Hope and Fuquay Bay. They've done a really nice job of staying home and rotating and playing great help side D.
Simpson and Perry try to go to work. Perry for three, and a beautiful rebound by Mays. And the senior gets on the floor. SMU basketball, 1:14 remaining in the ball game.
Now, I'm digging the grit and the hustle right now from Akina Mays, but she's got to keep her head in it. She's got to stay composed. You know, she was a little frustrated after that offensive call. Comes back down, is so wanting to get some points on the board, but she's got to stay composed and within herself. She will not help her team if she's playing out of control.
Well, here's the freshman from Duncanville with a nice drive. And then we come back and Singleton says, I gets buckets.
I got to tell you, she was hitting them all day at the shoot-around, too.
It's a senior. That's where the play that you talked about earlier. Got to keep your head. So both coaches drawing up plays, drawing up things right now. What is Melissa McFerrin saying to her team? What's Rhonda Rampola saying to her SMU squad?
Well, I think for Melissa McFerrin, she's seeing her girls stand around a little bit too much, and they're trying to force the issue into the paint. Swing the ball around, get movement, get the Mustangs off of their feet so that they're making poor decisions, and then it'll open up. Look for the back door. They're playing so aggressive. I guarantee you they're trying to get a back door in there if they're going to play that far up on you.
And SMU down by one. It is SMU basketball, by the way. Minute 14 remaining in the game. You got to love the way SMU fought to get back in this ball game.
Yeah, it shows a lot of grit. It shows a ton of character, and it really kind of highlights the identity of this team. Rhonda Rampola does a great job instilling a sense of pride in this team. Obviously, coaching for her alma mater, she has been there herself, and these girls know that. They're on their home court. You got to protect your house.
So fresh shot clock for SMU. The senior Kina Mays will run the show. Little pick and roll action with Simpson with a beautiful move and the roll. SMU up by one. Memphis might have wanted to run an offense there, but Akil Simpson will run it down and luckily get the foul drawn on Memphis. And that's going to be Fuquay Bay's fifth personal, and she's got to take a seat. So SMU 62-61 over Memphis right now, 47 ticks remaining in this one.
That's a big blow right now from Memphis. Under a minute to play. You lose one of your best post players. There you see a great pass from Fuquay Bay down to Hope just a couple of minutes ago. She is such a presence underneath the basket and on the defensive end. She's tall, she's fast, she's athletic. They want her on the floor, and unfortunately now she's going to have to watch the rest of this game from the bench, just getting served her fifth foul.
So Akil Simpson, who started out a little rocky for SMU, really picked up the intensity, did the senior from Duncanville, and started to kind of lead this team from an emotional standpoint heading into second half. Misses the first one.
Mama ain't going to be happy with that. You got to make those free throws.
Wanted to come to SMU to stay close to home and misses both free throws. SMU still with the 1-point lead, and Melissa McFerrin will talk about it with her team. 39.7 remaining in the ball game. All right, let's draw it up, Tara.
Just trying to read her mind right now, which way she's going to go.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that SMU has not had a very good track record of doing, and that's stopping Memphis on the pick and roll or getting to the basket on dribble drive.
Yeah, and I think that's what Coach McFerrin was trying to highlight. She was trying to get a little one-on-one action with Wilder Cochran, and really just try to get a quick hitter to the basket. So maybe if they can try to do that again, I don't think they're going to try to ISO 4-3 right now, even though they were hot from beyond the arc. At this point, you want a more high percentage shot. And while, yes, that three-pointer was a high percentage shot tonight, at this stage of the game and where their kind of three-point field goal percentage has gone, you want to get as close to the basket as possible, if not, draw a foul.
Well, it's American Athletic Conference on the American Digital Network, powered by Live U Sports. You're watching SMU and Memphis, 39.7 seconds. SMU with a 1-point lead in the ball game. 20 seconds remaining on the shot clock for Memphis. Little pick and roll action. And a beautifully executed play by the guard. And Singleton with her first personal, but Wilder Cochran still on the floor for Memphis.
I talked about that soft brace that she has on her knee. She came up limping a couple of minutes ago, about halfway through the second half, and she is struggling to get to the free throw line right now.
Well, she is a 72% free throw shooter. And if she can't shoot the free throw, Melissa McFerrin can choose a better free throw player, free throw shooter to come into the ball game. If she needs to come out of the game, here's a strategic moment potentially for McFerrin.
Now you know that Bria Wilder Cochran has to be hurt right now, because her coach just looked at her and said, Bria, can you make 2 shots, or do I need to call someone? And she looked at her and said, call someone.
Well, she called Rouser, the 5'9" freshman. How about that for a coach's confidence? Bring a freshman in the ball game.
She's a redshirt freshman, so she was able to sit a whole year last year and watch the ins and outs.
She's a 69% free throw shooter, knocks down the first one.
Learned so much from Coach McFerrin and the entire Tigers coaching staff last year. Almost became a coach in her own right because of not being able to play to injury. So these are huge right now for the Tigers.
Tie ball game, and SMU comes away with it. And the opportunity to finish this ball game as Rhonda Rampola calls a timeout with 26 seconds remaining in the ball game. 26.5 on the game clock, 26 on the shot clock. What's Rampola drawing up?
You know, I can sit here and say, okay, it's the 1-2 punch. Keena Mays gets the ball, tries to get to the basket, ISO on Simpson if nothing else. But you also look at someone like Mallory Singleton. The senior came in tonight, scoring double digits, has been golden, has a height advantage on most of the Memphis players. But then you think, hey, is it freshman Kiara Perry's day? But this is why Rhonda Rampola gets paid the big bucks, and I'm going to sit at the table and see what she puts together, because I'm just not quite sure. But if I had to guess, I think it's going to be the 1-2 punch in either Mays or Simpson.
Well, it's 26.5 remaining in the ball game. SMU down by at least 10 points in this ball game, and scratched and clawed their way back. We're tied at 62. SMU basketball, 26 remaining on the shot clock, so SMU could literally get the last shot of this ball game. And it's in the hands of the senior Keena Mays, who's done it all for them all season long. And the freshman Perry now with 12 seconds on the clock. Keena Mays gets it back and says, clear out.
Get out.
Keena Mays, double team, and she launches it, and we go to overtime. Of course we go to overtime.
I think that play took a little bit longer than Coach Rampolla really wanted. It looked like there was a little bit of miscommunication with Karina Baker. She was down in the corner. They wanted her to come through for an ISO for Keena Mays. And then, great job. Credit the Memphis Tigers. They saw it coming all along. They practiced it in shoot around today. You know that when Keena Mays is getting the ball, trap her, use the sideline or the baseline. If he comes like a third defender, she was able to skirt around the pressure, but it was a little too much too late.
Well, that's how we got to overtime. And then SMU comes down and tries to make something happen. They get it inside here. But I think you're absolutely right. There's no way Rhonda Rampolla wanted a runner from the baseline coming out of a trap going into possibly overtime.
Pretty sure that's not what she put on the dry erase board.
Yeah, but you got to know that SMU, that Memphis knew that SMU was going to get the ball into Mays' hands. SMU had to know that Memphis was going to trap Mays, so some miscommunication potentially on offense for SMU to take this game into
because in
overtime.
in an ideal world, if Keena Mays is able to see that pressure coming, somebody is open.
Yep.
And generally, that someone could be down near the block. I mean, we saw that in last year's Big East Championship game with Skylar Diggins and Natalie McBride as they went on to defeat the Huskies. So when you, in game time situations and late game situations, when that double pressure comes, if you can see over that pressure, you got to look for the open man.
Well, we've got 5 minutes in overtime. We are knotted at 62. And we will jump it up. If you're just joining us on the American Digital Network, you're watching American Athletic Conference basketball between SMU and Memphis, both members of the USA Conference a season ago.
Akeel Simpson with 17 points, freshman Kiara Perry 13, and Mallory Singleton with 11. For the SMU Mustangs, for Memphis, it's Ariel Hearn, the sophomore, with 15 points, and Courtney Powell with 10.
Senior Mays ties it up. It'll be SMU basketball. .22 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And back in the hands of Mays once again. Handoff to Perry. Stop. Pop. Rebounded by Hope. Taken away by Baker. And here comes SMU again.
Gritty play by Baker.
On the shot clock, back door to Perry. 2 shots at the free throw line.
It's a really nice look there by Karina Baker. She's making some smart plays, good decisions. But Memphis is really stretching the Mustangs out. They're really pushing them as far as possible away from the basket. And it's really creating problems for the Mustangs in being able to execute their offense.
Perry, the freshman from Duncanville High School, shooting 2 shots, already has 13 points on the night, 14 now.
Okay, you got it.
Perry's second one goes down. A good night for the freshman now with 15 points and applies a little full court pressure as Memphis tries to figure out what to do here against this SMU defense. Hearn to the hole. And here comes SMU. The no look is no good for Mays.
There's a no look for Baker too. That's why she missed it. Wasn't quite expecting that pass.
Mays probably got that from her coach. Rhonda Rampola was a queen of the no-look pass in her college days.
Although she was such a great shooter, she tells her kids she didn't pass
That's
too
what she
much.
said. She says, I didn't pass much. Hope with the baby hook.
A little bit like a key to the dream out there. If they can, they need to go back to Hope. She had some nice buckets in the first half of this game. If she's able to assert her size underneath the basket, it could really give the Tigers a boost.
Singleton for 3. .248 remaining in the ball game, 64-64. We're in Moody Coliseum on the campus of SMU. SMU and Memphis battling it out here in American Athletic Conference play. Second week of play, and that air ball was tipped and rebounded by Williams.
Taylor Williams, we haven't heard her name much tonight, but I really like how the freshman here in overtime stepping up and not seemingly the game not too big for her. Although right there, speaking too soon, makes a freshman mistake coming right at Akeel Simpson.
Akeel Simpson will go to the free throw line. Opportunity for 2 shots. SMU trails by 2. 2:18 remaining in the ball game. Simpson with 17 points on the night for SMU. Make that 18.
Both these teams are tired right now. They're gassed. They need to find it somehow. You got to dig deep. This is what preseason is about. This is what you work so hard for over the summer. It's these games.
We are tied at 66. 2:08 remaining in the ball game. 17 remaining on the shot clock for Memphis. A little pick and roll between Hearn and Hope. Hope with the rebound on the floor. But who comes away with it but Speedy Mays for SMU.
Well, they got to wait for Simpson to get down there. She's just all over the floor and took a little time getting up, catching her breath.
Perry will go right, and she will pull up, but she will not get that. But SMU will.
And that's another foul on freshman Taylor Williams.
Well, you can look at the body language on the floor and tell who's tired.
See a lot of hands on the hips, a lot of pulling of the shorts.
That's right. That's the telltale sign. Hands on the hips.
Every time.
And I mean, every player for Memphis had their hands on the hips at the same time. Got to watch that body language, ladies.
Yeah, unless you're Beyonce, that is not a good look.
You got to like Wilder. Oh. Wilder Cochran with the take to the hole, but there goes the fatigue right there. Hope just walked right in and got that rebound. Memphis with a 2-point lead. 1:15 remaining in the ball game. In overtime.
Hope keeping hope alive for the Tigers. We'll see what SMU can do here on this end.
Beautiful move. Beautiful pass. Perry to Simpson. We're tied again, partner.
She's got great court vision. She really does have great court awareness. She's a natural shooter, no doubt about it. Came out of her high school as the most valuable player. I said 3 state championships, but she's learning her role. And here it's feed your senior.
And a little driving kick doesn't quite work for Wilder Cochran. Just throws it right into the fans, to the spectators. And SMU now with the basketball, 41.1 seconds remaining in this ball game. American Athletic Conference basketball on the American Digital Network, powered by Live Youth Sports. And Rhonda Rampola wants a timeout to talk about it. Draw potentially a final play for her Mustangs. And I say potentially because we were in this same spot 5 minutes ago, and we went into overtime. So let's check out some of the highlights of this ball game.
Keena Mays right there with a free ride, but not so fast as she's called for the offensive foul. Akeel Simpson, the senior, working hard. This is her home court. And Kiara Perry trying to dump it down. She's fouled underneath the basket. On the other end for the Tigers, it's been Pizzana Hope that has given the Tigers the necessary boost to stay in this game, as we are all tied up at 68. But how about this one, the prettiest one of them all? A little dump pass from Perry to Simpson. And here we are, just 36 ticks left. 11-second differential on the shot clock.
Different situation than when we were in regulation. Memphis now has 3 players with 4 fouls. Williams, Hearn, Hope all have 4. And of course, Fuquay Bay, a key, critical piece of this puzzle, already fouled out.
Yeah, that hurts. Fuquay Bay came in 8 points, 7.5 rebounds, shooting 40% from the field. Averages 31 minutes per game, so she's only a sophomore, but she is one of the bigger presences they have on this Tigers squad. You're going without her in the heat of battle here. You're going to feel it a little bit. And they have. You look at freshman Taylor Williams, very capable player, had a nice bucket on the one end, but then came back, grabbed 2 quick fouls.
Well, Memphis averages 65 points a game. SMU averages 71.9. So both teams kind of getting to where they usually are in the scoring category. 17 seconds on the shot clock. The senior Mays. So they try to go a little ISO.
And
Mays,
this is what they tried before.
Mays pulls up and gets it. Cool as the other side of the pillow is Mays. And now Melissa McFerrin wants a timeout. SMU up 70-68, 13 seconds remaining in the ball game. And it's time to pull out your bag of tricks,
Yeah,
Melissa
to
McFerrin.
see what McFerrin goes with, because, well, first we'll take a look at this SMU highlight. It's all Keena Mays. You know it is. Waits for a defender to pass her by. Great jump shot, nothing but the net.
Keena Mays waited for her defender, looked at her defender, and then shot. She's got a very calm demeanor on the floor, does Keena Mays, the senior. Arlington, by way of Kansas, wanted to get back close to home. Just hit a key bucket for the SMU Mustangs to give them a 2-point lead with 13 seconds remaining in the ball game.
Well, miscommunication there on defense. They sorted it out before the ball was inbound.
8 seconds. Hearn looks to drive. She's got a bigger defender on her, and Perry. She goes by her. Shot, makes it. And here comes SMU again. No timeouts apparently, and they will throw it up, and to overtime we go again.
That is a big, big bucket from Ariel Hearn.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the American Digital Network, where you are getting your money's worth. The price of admission tonight, as SMU and Memphis are heading into another overtime. We are knotted at 70. Here's where you see SMU trying to get a last-ditch effort. And Double overtime, partner.
Fran, you might never get back to Austin. I might get back to New York before you get back to Austin. Hey, this is what we expected to happen, though, coming in. We knew this was going to be a very tight, even match. Coming in to this game, Memphis 0-2 in the conference right now, where you had SMU at 1-2. Mustangs came in coming off that 76-62 loss to South Florida, but before that, we're able to get by the Cincinnati team 54-43. And their first test in conference play were the Louisville Cardinals, who handed them a 20-point loss. On the flip side for Memphis, they didn't like that loss to the Huskies too much. No one likes losing by 40 points. And they came in here on this road swing with something to prove. Memphis returned 7-letter winners from last year's WNIT team, but none of them with more than a year in blue and gray, if that just gives you an idea of how young this squad really is.
Just joining us on the American Digital Network, you're watching SMU and Memphis in their second overtime. 3-ball by Hearn. A nice board by Hope.
I think what's worth mentioning is now the Memphis fouls could become relevant.
Memphis with 3 players with 4 fouls. And let's see how SMU leverages that situation. Singleton got it.
Going back to the well. She hit a little bit of a cold streak in that first overtime and last couple of minutes of the second half. But if they can get her going again, that'd be huge.
Singleton now with 14. Mays with 10, Perry with 15, and Simpson with 21. And a new shot clock for Memphis on the deflection. And the fans are hanging in there with their Mustangs here in Dallas. And an off-balance shot, but her own rebound and a nice little flip over to Hope. Just too tired to get it to go down.
Well, Simpson should be tired. She's played more minutes than anybody on the floor tonight at 44 and counting. Keena Mays behind her with 41, but right there, a costly turnover with a 10-second backcourt violation. It's made its coming out party this season, and it was mainly put in to reward good defensive play, and right there it did.
Well, that's just the senior not being on top of it. Maybe she forgot that the 10-second rule was in because she was calmly walking to backcourt.
Maybe a bit of a mental lapse there, forgetting that rule was in play this year.
3:12 on the drive, 10 on the shot clock for Memphis. SMU with some steady defense, and then she called glass, giving Memphis a 75-73 lead. That's Wilder Cochran, the 3-pointer for the Tigers.
That was a money shot right there. Glass or not, clutch, right off the dribble. Somehow Mays is able to keep control. She tried to flip it behind her back to Simpson. It didn't work.
Ronda Rampola wondering what her senior guard was doing. And some mustard and relish on that hot dog. 2:33 remaining. Memphis up by 2. And a bad pass caught by Memphis and stolen by Mays. And here's SMU in transition. Mays takes it and gets it to go down.
That is all will. That is all heart. She got knocked down on the defensive end, got back up, was able to grab the ball, was cognizant of her defender on her right hip, and just able to get through the defense, get the bucket and the foul. She's a veteran, and she's a star.
She's all business. I mean,
I haven't
Look
seen
at that
one
mug. Look at that
emotion
face.
come across her face all night.
Keena Mays is all business for SMU.
She's gone to work.
Are you having a good time, Keena Mays? You couldn't tell. She's got 12 points for SMU. And here they come again.
Just another rebound to add to Simpson's double-double, her 5th of the season. Everyone's contributing right now for the Mustangs.
SMU with a 1-point lead, 76-75 over Memphis. 1:50 remaining in the ball game. Second overtime. SMU gets a fresh shot clock. An opportunity to go to the free throw line, and yet another Memphis player fouled out of the ball game.
Taylor Williams, the freshman, is done for the night.
Back at Moody Coliseum, Memphis, SMU in double overtime. Singleton just missed first free throw. SMU with a 1-point lead, 76-75. Just now joining us, I'm Fran Harris along with Tara Petrolino. SMU now with a 2-point lead and 1:48 remaining in the ball game.
Possession arrow pointing to SMU.
.12 on the shot clock. And Hope is posting her brains out down low, not getting the basketball.
Tigers will have 8 seconds to work with. But the Mustangs are hunkering down, not giving them much of anything. Kind of get the sense there's a little bit of blood in the water and they're looking for the kill here.
Well, SMU had to claw their way back in regulation and then got this thing to overtime, and Memphis came back and we got to double overtime. And we'll see who gives in to fatigue here in the second overtime. SMU up 77-75, 1:28 remaining in the ball game.
Ariel Hearn came into this game shooting 45% from beyond the arc. So while you want those high percentage shots, if they can't get it inside, don't be surprised to see it fly from either Hearn or Wilder Cochran.
And I was going to say that that's Keena Mays' mother who told us today that her mom is always the entertainment at SMU games.
Indeed.
I'm just making a guess that that's Mama right there.
I'm with you. I am with you. A crowd favorite here at Moody Coliseum.
And the Keena Mays just gave us the thumbs up. Yep, that's my mother. So SMU up 2 points in double overtime. I'm Fran Harris with Tara Petrolino. And the teams on the court, SMU and Memphis in their double overtime. And it's been a doozy. 3 on the shot clock. Not sure Hearn is aware of it. And we've got a foul, a bailout foul at SMU. Terrific defense by SMU that got Hearn to take a wild three-pointer with the shot clock expiring. And then Hope got her hands on the ball and Singleton with the foul.
And that's what Rhonda Rampola is saying. Shot clock went off before she hit the ground.
And the fans don't like it either, and Hope misses the first one. Hope misses the second one. If you remember, in the first overtime, Simpson had 2 free throws.
That's right.
Missed both of them. And SMU not handling the pressure very well. Memphis now with another opportunity. 1:09 remaining. SMU still with a 2-point lead. The Memphis Tigers trying to take a win back home. Hope, I love the work she's doing down low. Nice take to the basket, and Memphis again. 50 seconds remaining in the ball game. And Memphis is going to run.
A great tip by Jazz Swain to keep it alive.
19 on the shot clock. Hearn on the penetration. And the 3 ball is an air ball. And that's a great hustle by Hope. That's beautiful hustle by Hope. And it's Memphis basketball. Well, that's 2 clutch plays by Memphis in a row. Tara.
Karina Baker tried to get in the mix there, trying to save it, maybe deflecting it off Hope. Just a couple, too much confusion down on the baseline, and did not work in her favor.
Well, so this is how we got to overtime. And some great shooting from SMU. But then Memphis with the stop and pop. And SMU had nothing, and once we played in the second overtime, Memphis continues to battle on the board. All right, folks, 33 seconds remaining in the ball game. Memphis basketball, 11 on the shot clock. Eight on the shot clock. Hearn pulls up. And SMU with the ball, and Memphis will have to foul. 23.4 remaining as the senior Mays will go to the free throw line for the Mustangs.
Both teams in the bonus. She'll shoot 2.
And they are dropping like flies here for Memphis as Hope has to leave the ball game with 5 personals.
That's a devastating blow to this Tiger squad. They need Hope on the floor.
Definitely the most active player down low on the boards offensively. 2 shots for Keena Mays. Keena Mays with 13 in the game for SMU. Gets this one to go down, gives SMU a 3-point lead. This one makes it a 2-possession game, and it does. And now Memphis will have to get over and go for it. Look for a quick 3 by Memphis. They don't have a lot of time. They've got to get 2 shots off. And the first 3 is shot and rejected. And rebound by Simpson, and that might do it. And Simpson will go to the free throw line with SMU with the 4-point lead. So SMU fought back, now with a 4-point lead, 5.7 remaining in the ball game. And Simpson can put this one out of reach even more for the Mustangs. Got a timeout on the floor.
Akil Simpson, just need one free throw. One free throw, you can go home and rest, girlfriend.
And if not, Melissa McFerrin, a top strategist in the women's game, is plotting out what her team can do to get 4 points in 5.7 seconds. Now, I have seen this happen. So I'm not putting it past you, Melissa McFerrin, but it is going to be tough.
You've seen it happen with who? With Reggie Miller?
And
the Garden, your boy, Reggie? That's when I've seen it happen.
I was just about to say that. And the Knicks. Oh, my goodness. Like 9 points in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Spike Lee still depressed over it. They need threes, and they need them fast. They need them from her, and they need them from Mack or Wilder Cochran.
Well, the way I see it, if Simpson misses the free throw, you go long. You got time for one pass, get it over here, one shot, okay?
Quick steal and
a shot. It's a Reggie Miller last-second shot formula. Simpson's second one is up and good. And now you got to get someone planted here for the shot. Hearn's air ball ends it. SMU 80, Memphis 75. Carter, final thoughts on this double overtime.
It was a battle of wills. Who was going to last? Who was going to have players to last? Memphis got into a ton of foul trouble, and Melissa McFerrin just didn't know who else to put in. She lost.